Welcome back, everyone, to The Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I'm joined, as always, by Willie Dills Gregory and Miss Jocelyn Moffat. Welcome back, guys.
Hello, hello.
Good to be back at our normal time, by the way, with lots and lots to talk about again for another week.
Yeah, there is lots to talk about, more than after the original announcement of a brand new expansion, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Also,
needed a week to let it all sink in and get some more information.
Yeah, absolutely. Also joining us for the first time is our special guest today, Kevin, a.k.a. Odinn from the Well Met podcast, and you also may have seen him casting the Hearthstone Winter Preliminaries. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thanks, Garrett. It's super exciting to be here. You guys put together one of the best shows in the whole industry, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm super excited to be a part of it.
Nice. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for fulfilling your contractual obligation of starting the show off with a compliment about
Big
the
compliment,
chicken.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I'm good. Now I can stay.
Your check is in the mail. Well, welcome to the show, man. So you got into casting the preliminaries through the So You Think You Can Cast. I don't know. Are we calling it a contest? Promotion?
It's kind of
not
a
calling
contest,
it a
I guess.
contest. Blizzard was very specific. There was not a contest because it wasn't a prize, which meant they could do everything they did without having to go through the legal department and deal with how
I see.
giving it out as a prize would have worked.
If it was a contest, they would, I think, legally have to make it so that you could still win even if you didn't purchase something, right? Isn't that a rule? No purchase required.
No purchase necessary.
Yeah, no purchase necessary. Thank you. So wait, can you tell us a little bit about what you had done in casting before this? Because I know you had done some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, not a ton. It's just been hard because I obviously am not maybe as heavily invested in the scene in a lot of other games as I am now in Hearthstone. So I did for a while do some community casting with StarCraft. I did some B-stream stuff for DreamHack and a few other events, and then made a big push to get into Hearthstone more heavily a little over a year ago, I guess. I'd been playing the game since it came out, but cared a lot more about it than most of the other games. And it's just the meteoric rise of this scene and how many people are involved made it way easier to get, your foot through the door and get people to recognize you as a content creator or a streamer, or in this case, a caster.
Nice.
And
well,
10-minute demo video for the contest, and here I am.
You started a Skype robot on us a little bit there, in case you were wondering why I didn't mean to cut you off. Well, I have one really important question. Of everyone you casted with over that weekend, why does Brian Kibler get to be in your Twitter avatar?
Well, so the second day on set, Natalie, Brian's wife, came to join us, and she brought Shiro. And of course, everybody was super excited to spend time with Shiro because Shiro is a celebrity in his own right. So Natalie really wanted to get a picture of Shiro on set, and Brian asked for permission to bring Shiro onto the set. So between games, we got up on the desk, and then it was me and Brian and Rob who sort of agreed to take this picture. And Natalie took this really hilarious photo of the three of us sitting there, all posed up with Shiro kind of half on the desk. And it just happened to be that Brian and I both leaned one way, and Rob went totally the other way. So he's sort of Rob's there.
Rob
He's
was
just
supposed to
propped
be in
out
the
of
picture.
corner. Yeah, Rob is technically physically right there. You just can't see him.
That's good.
There's
So
a little
it's-
glow off of his head.
So it's not so much that Brian Kibler made the cut for your Twitter avatar; it's that Shiro made the cut for your Twitter avatar.
That's really what happened.
Okay, gotcha.
Speaking of Rob, who's your least favorite to cast with, and why is it Rob? Sorry, just a little. I had to dig on Rob just a little bit. I loved his casting, but he's a friend of the show, so I can only dig on him. He's the only one I get to dig on.
Rob and I go back, right? Because he and I actually worked on the Hearth Pro show, the predecessor to
that's
Well
right,
Met,
yeah.
before he went to Blizzard. That was kind of one of the things I did when I first got into working on Hearthstone-related content. And, I mean, I love him. I love him to work with. And if you talk to the rest of the people who work the desks and the panels, they'll tell you flat out, the best thing about Rob is that he's really not there to do anything for himself. He's there to sort of, encourage everybody else, set everybody else up, lob them the easy softballs. He's the one who's making sure that everybody's getting equal airtime and gets involved and gets to participate. So even if he's not your personal favorite mechanical best caster, he does such a good job of making everybody else look really good. It's he's the perfect backdrop, right, for everybody else. Yeah. And he does that so well that it just seems really unfair to be really down on him as an individual, because no one's casting by themselves. It's always a panel of 2, 3, 4 people, and he really has a good sense of how to make those people gel together.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's always been, to me, one of the funniest guys that I know in the Hearthstone scene. So it was really cool to see him actually get a chance to cast. And I think it's funny because I did see some of the Reddit comments where people didn't like him, but I think that people just don't like people they don't know. So everyone's like, oh, Kibler and Crip and Reynad and all these guys that they actually already know. So kind of seem to get a little bit of favoritism. So I wanted to ask you about this. You're in a position where a lot of people might not know you. Is that something you were concerned with when you went in, and how have you kind of like dealt with that possibility of that situation, that Reddit thing, happening?
Well, it's funny, right? Because obviously everybody reads that stuff, right? Everybody reads Twitter, everybody reads Reddit. Like, you're sitting there with like Trevor Houston and Drew Higby, like the senior management esports Blizzard folks that are there on set with us, and they're watching every single tweet, every single Reddit comment. Everyone knows exactly what's being said. It's not like these guys are oblivious, and neither are we. We see all of it. I just didn't get anything for mentions at all. Like, I did the whole tournament, and no one said good things and no one said bad things. It was like I was never there. I just kind of slid under the radar entirely. So obviously I did nothing immensely wrong, because no one like took to Reddit and got out their, different style of text-based pitchfork. But I don't know. I guess I think you're right. I think that a lot of it is just institutionalization. Like, once the same person has been on stream 50 times, people know what kind of jokes they make. They know what to expect. They get excited about seeing those same faces over and over again. They get used to a certain style or a certain set of people. Obviously, I would love to be one of those people as time goes on, but in the short term, I'm open to, criticism, feedback, ideas, and as is everybody. And the new talent that Blizzard brought in for the Hearthstone Championship Tour this year in both regions, right, America and European, all top people. Like, they're all just super nice, really easy to work with. I had a great time working with all of them. I was sad that I wasn't able to be at the championships, obviously, but I think that everybody who came back, like, even now after 2 tournaments, you see people on Reddit being like, Core is pretty awesome. She does her own thing. She's got a different style. She's got a different sense of humor, and people love her. And I think that's just going to keep going, and we're going to build kind of a whole new team of people that really represent Hearthstone and all the ways and places that it's played. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's something I think has been pretty good overall with Hearthstone esports is the turnover of casters. I mean, yeah, Frodan is at just about everything, but it's almost always Frodan and someone I haven't seen cast before. Yeah, sometimes it's a pro player, and you could argue, well, it's kind of still hard to break into that. But I feel like Hearthstone has a pretty good turnover rate in bringing in new blood and new talent. I mean, you mentioned casting for StarCraft. I don't think there's been an esport that's been harder to break into. It's pretty much just tasteless and artoseless everywhere.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think it's cool because, like, Rob is sort of the one spearheading this program for Hearthstone in particular, and they really actively chose to reach into the existing Hearthstone community and find people who are already doing Hearthstone related stuff. It wasn't just, let's find a like quasi internet celebrity. Not that those people don't do great jobs in the places that they belong. I'm not, digging on anybody, but it's awesome that Blizzard was like, no, let's go find people who already do Hearthstone related stuff and build up our existing community and bring people up kind of through the ranks that way. And everybody who came in to do this year, I mean, even the people like, the Frodans and Kiblers, like Frodan comes from other Blizzard titles. He did a ton of StarCraft stuff back in the day. Kibler is obviously the former designer on the WoW TCG, worked with Blizzard on that, plays a ton of Hearthstone. He and I go way back, actually, from a gazillion years ago from an old World of Warcraft forum. So, like, I've been friends with him for pushing 10 years at this point. And it's just cool to see all these people who are so interconnected with the game and Blizzard kind of all come together and try to make this happen.
So you were lucky enough to actually have that friendship with Kibler going into it, but something we touched upon when we talked to Admirable was just the idea that it's so easy for the existing casters to work together because they've known each other so long. Did you find that it was difficult to kind of build a rapport with anyone, or did you just kind of like sit in and go?
I mean, a little of both. I'm not going to lie. There's definitely people who are super accessible, like TJ. Or Asimo. He is probably my favorite person out of the people I got to meet for the first time and work with on that set, because he's super funny. He's super easy to get along with. He's totally brilliant. He knows more about the Hearthstone pro scene than anybody I've ever met and takes it very seriously. Like everybody else is kind of like, okay, like which player are you going to root for? And TJ pulls out his notebook with like 5 pages of specific notes on every player playing in the preliminary, like which decks they'll bring and why, who they practice with, how many times they've hit legend, how they earned all their HCT points. Like the dude is a genius and it's terrifying. But no, I mean, everybody, like the new folks all kind of banded together, and then I knew Kibler, so there was no issues there. The wild card, everybody sort of said, like, you can never really tell how Frodan feels about you because he's just all business, right? Like, he's 100% just there to do his job. Super nice guy, loved him to pieces. He's been great, you know, and working with him was a really positive experience. But yeah, like when you first meet the guy, it's like, does he like me? Does he not like me? I can't tell. I have no idea what his story is here. And I didn't realize how young he was. And I say that as like, one of the people where when me and Kibler and Rob got up on the desk together, Twitch chat was like, why are all these old men commentating this children's card game? But yeah, like I was one of the oldest people there, and Frodan is only like just turned 25, I guess. So
yeah, but he's like for a 25-year-old, he's got a lot of experience. I mean, the guy's been doing this stuff forever. So I mean that's one, but he's also, I think, kind of an anomaly, right? I don't think most people, you know, come out of the box and just start doing all this stuff. But I would say this, though, for someone who maybe didn't know, a lot of you guys didn't maybe know each other super well. You guys did really seem to gel from just a viewer standpoint pretty quickly. And I know a lot of that preliminary, the casting, a lot of it was kind of bent to introduce you guys to the viewers and kind of present why you guys were there and what your qualifications were. But if you notice in the championship, the last one, that was all like done, and now it was like they're all sick burning each other left and right, and basically it was just that you could see that the camaraderie had happened. So was there just a lot of the casters kind of hanging out with each other to try to build that? Is that what you guys were doing in that initial cast?
Oh, absolutely. Like we were in California for a couple days ahead of the actual tournament, so we had a chance to sort of like hang out, get to know each other,
get
go to
Korean
dinner,
barbecue, I'm assuming.
Get a ton of Korean. We went actually with all the senior devs from the Hearthstone team for Korean barbecue, which was super cool. Everybody got really mad at me because at one point, like I was sitting right next to Ben Brode, and he just turned to me and was like, "So do you have any questions I can answer?" And I just sat and talked with him, and like the rest of there's like 15 people sitting here having Korean barbecue. Everybody else just shuts up, and it's just me asking Ben questions and Ben answering them, and like we're having a really great conversation. I didn't really notice that everyone else had just stopped and started listening to us.
You guys were doing a Hearthstone podcast for everybody.
There is something magical.
And then, like we left lunch, and everybody's like, "Dude, why didn't you let us talk?" I was like, I was just having a friendly conversation. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's something magical about talking to Ben Brode about Hearthstone over Korean barbecue. I don't know what it is.
It was life-changing.
But yeah, we were lucky enough to get to do that before BlizzCon. And I wish we could have just put a mic right over the stove and just put it out as an episode, because it would have been wonderful.
Yeah, and he takes his Korean barbecue very seriously, so you have him in zone when he's doing that too. But yeah, I mean, we definitely built a really great relationship with the other casters, and I know that when I go back the next time, when I'm behind the desk again, it won't be like me frantically trying to justify why I'm there and learning how to interact with everybody, because we got to know each other. We talk on a pretty regular basis now outside of casting related obligations. We're all people that are big into Hearthstone and care about where things are going. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I think everybody's going to keep working on just how do we make the presentation better, because now we don't have to explain ourselves. We don't have to be like, this is who I am, this is why I'm here. We can just show up and do the job and do a better job, hopefully, every time.
No, awesome. I think you did a great job, man. Well, we have a lot of news to talk about, but before we do that, we do have a couple updates in direct reference to our last episode. We talked about the other old gods having cards that play along with them. That is not the case. Chthun is the only old god with cultists that support him.
Yes.
Okay, so
this was confirmed through. I was watching Frodan's stream, and Hazard Twisting Fate, who writes some articles for Tempo Storm, said that he had a direct conversation with Yang Wu, and he'd asked him about this. And Yang Wu confirmed to him that no, Chthun is the only one that has support around him. All the other old gods are going to exist kind of on their own. So you could put them into a deck and not also fill the deck with a bunch of other support pieces. So
So I kind of wanted to like clarify, I guess, what I was getting at when we talked about this last week. The way that I'm kind of picturing how the old gods might work is that you might have like one of the old gods, like, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is now. I think Nizoth or something like that. Anyways, the one that created the Naga, there might be like a whole new Naga tribe that are going to kind of have synergy with him. So like, I wasn't expecting all the old gods to have cultists, but I think that they will have a certain type of deck that they will work with.
Certain cards will work better with them. I'm sure that that's the case, but that would just be kind of, I think, incidental. I think that, just to clarify, because some people weren't clear, if other gods were going to require like buffing cards specifically to them, because Cthulhu's, those cards literally say Cthulhu on them, right? So we just want to make sure that that's out there, because we did confirm that since that last show. So, if you have a Yogg Saron deck, it's not like you're going to have to put a bunch of cards in there that buff Yogg Saron, right?
There's going to be like 8 eyeball cards, but they're mouths. And you're going to have to include
like
that in your
eyeball
deck.
Yeah,
your eyeball mouth deck.
Yeah.
And
also, then, of course, our other thing we talked about was, are the old gods the only legendaries? We didn't know yet. No confirmation, but there's new cards.
Yes. That's right.
So Devil's Advocate Jocelyn was wrong. Let's just get that out of the way now.
No. None of this is about making sure that we point out, but just to confirm things that we weren't clear on at that moment, because that was fresh off the announcement.
F that.
Since then,
I said no way in hell. I was right.
There you go. Garrett was right. There you go.
Which feels good after an episode where I had to come on and say I was completely wrong about it not being old gods. So, anyways, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Wow, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. First up, Lady Liadrin, I think it was, did Phil Kohler, was he the one who suggested that might be the Paladin, alternate Paladin hero last time he was on? One of us did, and I think it was Phil.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people that were saying that she would be kind of the best choice. I mean, there's been a lot of people calling for both like a male and female option where that's available within the lore. And I mean, like, she's the leader of the Blood Elf Paladins. Like, she makes the most sense. I think she's kind of, probably her and Tyrande were kind of the no-brainers, I would say, for the next hero portraits. So it's kind of been all over the place.
Yeah. So we're not buying this new hero portrait. The way you get her is you need to level a character to level 20 in WoW. This is not retroactive, sadly.
Yeah, if you have a level, multiple level hundreds, you don't just get.
Like everyone who hosts this show.
Yeah. But listen, here's the other thing, though. I think, and I haven't confirmed this yet because I just logged in the other day to see what I have. All you have to do is just ding 20. It doesn't mean you have to go 1 to 20.
Yeah.
I did all of the science on this.
Okay,
so,
good.
Yes, you have to go from level 19 to level 20 because hitting level 20 is what actually triggers the achievement. Yeah. So if you have a level 19, awesome. Mm-hmm. My lowest level character, 20 on the dot.
Oh no.
Oh, I had a level 15 shaman. I recently deleted him.
Oh no.
So thanks for the warning, Team 5.
Well, the good news for me is I have at least 40 characters on other servers. I'm sure someone is around 19. I know for a fact I actually had like a 19 character that I just used for low-level PvP. So I could actually go just say, yeah, screw that low-level PvP stuff. I'm going to get my Liadrin. But yeah, so just 19 to 20, huh? Okay, good.
Exactly.
That's all you have to do.
I did it last night. I went from 1 to 20. I rolled a mage. It was terrible. It was so freaking boring. But I also did it the way I thought that a new Hearthstone or like someone totally new to Warcraft that's just coming over just for the new hero might do it. So no heirlooms, no dungeons, no PvP, no gathering professions, just straight up questing. Took 5 hours.
Okay.
Wow. That seems like it's a long time. It shouldn't take that long.
Well,
yeah. Well, with none of the bonuses, I could see it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Jocelyn. Would you have liked to have the option to just pay $9.99 instead? Because it sounds like, you basically got paid $2 an hour to.
a lot of people are saying this. They're like, oh man, 5 hours is too long. But then again, like there are many things that you can do in Warcraft that actually help you gain more XP. If you want to wait, even for the Dark Moon Fair, which is open to like everybody, you do one ride around the carousel and boom, XP bonus. So there's lots of ways to actually speed up that process. Ro, who's on my raid team, did it in 90 minutes. So, you know, it's definitely. He knows all the tricks, exactly. And I mean, like, you can Google all the tricks. It's not like they're totally secret. And it does help to have a max level character that you can kind of help with these heirlooms and potions and things that you can get at max level. But I have such a problem with the whole, like, $2 an hour thing, because you can do up to level 20 in Warcraft for free. So you don't actually have any investment except for your time. And you get to play a game. If I'd never played Warcraft before, like, it would be a great experience for me to get in and try something new. So I don't know. I really don't like the whole, $2 an hour. Like, no.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, I understand why they're doing it this way, because it's an attempt to get people who may have not played World of Warcraft to give it a shot, right? And it's a way to do a little bit of a cross promotion between Blizzard games, which I think is fantastic. I'm sure there's tons of people who play Hearthstone who never once played World of Warcraft, and this is their chance to see a little bit of the world that inspired a lot of these cards, right? Mm-hmm. That being said, I think that you should have the option, if you already own a level 100 character, to just say, well, yeah, I already did that. I'm not your target audience for this, right? So can I just have Liadrin, please? And just give us a little bit of a back door to this, because what it's going to do, it's still going to do, right? Mm-hmm. To me, like, stuff like this is a little bit awkward when, like, the Heroes of the Storm thing where everyone just created Smurf accounts. It's like I see the reasoning and I see the objective that they have in mind, but everyone's going to just do the minimum thing they can do to get the reward, and then they're out. And people like me who've been playing World of Warcraft for years, do I really need to go back and do this again, or I'm already in? Like, I'm hooked. You got me. You don't have to get me again. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, if you agree or not, but that's just kind of my take. It's like, I don't want to be forced to do something like this, you know?
Yeah. I think in some cases, though, it's definitely being used as like a come on back type of a thing. Like, they don't want to just get you. Like, I mean, are you currently sub to WoW?
Yes.
Oh, well, then you're not the target person.
I currently do a World of Warcraft podcast about, I mean, I'm not your typical case, obviously, but I just think, there are people out there, multiple hundreds, actively playing. And do we need to do it this way? Or is this, this is supposed to be getting people who either, aren't playing currently, maybe have never played. And that's who I think they're trying to get with this. So I just personally would like to see it just be like, okay, the other people, you can also do it this way or something. Log into WoW on a level 100 character. Now you have it. You know what I mean?
I think it's a lot to do.
The flip side, right?
Oh, sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, the flip side is that this is supposed to be a social experience. Like, they're going to make the early game experience of getting from 1 to 20 way more interesting, because there's going to be a ton of people doing it for a brief window of time for a couple of weeks here while everyone's talking about it. Lots of people are going to be in those zones. It's going to feel really populated. You're going to do it with friends as opposed to feeling like you just sit and kind of plot along and do it yourself, Jocelyn style.
Don't do it Jocelyn style.
Don't do it Jocelyn style.
Right.
There's definitely value, I think. If they're going to do the cross-promotional stuff anyways, it's better that it be something that actually encourages the whole experience to be really positive. And if that means that I, as somebody who has multiple level 100 characters and log in and, raid every week or whatever, still have to go back and level from 1 to 20, like, okay, that's cost of doing business. It's a totally free, purely cosmetic thing in a game I really enjoy. So I'm going to put in my, like,
I'm never going to do it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
no, you should.
I'm just saying, similar to the hero, like, I wasn't really very happy with the heroes thing, and I get what they're trying to do. But basically what they ended up doing was just forcing a bunch of people to make Smurf accounts and then have them sit in AI games, right, and get experience. So it's like,
that was awful, yeah.
Hey, man, I would call that a success, because now I have an account that actually has an MMR that functions, because Team 1's already failing on the MMR reset.
All right, there you go. Silver lining of that one.
Silver lining of that one, I fixed their broken game by creating a second account.
Okay, so wait, what was the heroes thing? Because I thought the way...
Yeah, you had you had to have four accounts that used your refer a friend code to hit level 10.
They're talking about
so
the
you would
mount
get a
in
mount.
Heroes.
Which caused a bunch of people to just
10,
make 4 Smurf accounts and link it to their own account, because it came really late. It came really late into the system, and all of my friends already played.
Yeah,
So.
I had already shared the game with a ton of people, so I had no more people to share it with. So I ultimately ended up deciding like I just don't care. I won't have that mount.
However, I fall on the I kind of fall on the camp of this is all cosmetic. Who really cares? It's not
sure.
detrimental. It's not ruining the game in any way, shape, or form. I will be fine if I don't get Lady Liadrin. I mean, I personally won't be because I have to have a Blood Knight for my Paladin. Like, I have to have it. Uther is milquetoast boring pants. So I need Liadrin so bad. But if I were to remove my Blood Knight fanboyism, who cares? Who really cares? It doesn't.
No, I
affect
mean,
anyone.
I think ultimately that is an important point to bring up is that if this was a legendary card like Dr. Boom that everyone needed to have for their deck, and the only way to earn it is to go level 1 through 20 in WoW, then justifiably people should be pissed.
Don't give them those ideas.
Right. And honestly, I would argue
never repeat that.
Cross promotions. When they come up with these cross promotions, I want them to also consider like who their audience is and what they're trying to accomplish, and just maybe find better ways to accomplish those tasks. I know it's new, and Blizzard is the only company really in a position to be doing this kind of stuff, so there's not a precedence for how it's going to work properly. Like, this is the way you're supposed to do this. Like, they're kind of coming up with this as we go. So I'm not holding it against them or anything. I want to make sure that that's clear. I'm not pissed at Blizzard. I'm just saying that there are some flaws here, and these would be like the ways I could see it being fixed. And that's pretty much it.
Well, the other thing is,
like, we're the absolute like high-end level of people who are experiencing this game, right? I am one of those people who has to have every card back, every character, everything. I'm an amount of money I don't want to disclose into Hearthstone already. So, like, yes, obviously I'm going to go get all of it. But I mean, if somebody just started playing this game 6 months ago, they can't go back and get old card backs. They maybe don't want to buy all the alternate heroes. Like, these are purely cosmetic things. It's okay to just be like, you know what? At some point, you're going to miss one of them. There's going to be something you can't get. Test my card back. God damn you. And in that case, right, you eventually just go, all right, it's impossible to 100% complete the entirety of this game. I can't have everything. And then the like mass panic of I must get them all wears off, and you're fine.
And
Very, very true.
To the chat room, who is telling me it's Liadrin, not Liadrin, I must ask you, Miss Granger, tell me, are you incapable of restraining yourself, or do you take pride in being an insufferable know-it-all? These are fake people with fake names. Deal with it.
So the other thing that I just wanted to mention really, really quickly while we're still talking about this hero is that when they first announced the first 3 heroes with the $10 price point, everyone was really, really upset that it cost $10 because that was quite expensive for basically just some artwork. And so now they've given us a free way to get these cosmetic things, and everyone's upset that it takes time.
I don't think very many people are actually upset. I'm not upset.
I got some pretty angry tweets.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those. Yeah.
Well, those people I think those people are the exception, because like again, you can't ever please everybody, right? And this is a known factor. I mean, this is just how it works. But I think my preference, if I could say what I would want, if I could tell Blizzard this is how I would like it, it would be that you have the pay option and the non-pay option for all the heroes, right? So there's a way to just skip over all the rigmarole if you want to, because you have an extra $9.99 in your pocket, or go do this task and get it, which there is precedence that works, and that's fine. And then people just get to decide the way they want to do it. If I'm a free-to-play player, I still have access to things, and if I'm not, I still have access to things, right?
Yep,
that's what I would like.
It's fine. It's all fine.
But again, I want to stress, I'm not pissed. I'm just pointing out these are some potential ways to make it work better or be better for everybody.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about other stuff that came in the patch this week. We have deck recipes now, guys. They are in Hearthstone. They actually suggest how to build meta decks, and also some pretty wishful thinking on Team 5's
hopeful
part.
meta decks.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are some meta decks, and then there's stuff like Beast Druid where it's like, yeah, I'm sure that's a thing, Blizzard. I'm sure. It's
Stop
not.
trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to
They
happen.
want to make it a thing so bad. There's like, I think they're only like maybe 1 or 2 cards short of actually making it work. But until combo goes away, why? Why would I do it?
Yeah. I gotta say, I think they really killed it with this one, guys. I think this is such a cool tool. I mean, how long have we been like brainstorming how to make the new player experience better, or to actually put tools in the game so you don't have to leave the game and go to third-party sites to actually learn how to build a deck that makes sense and will actually win you games on the ladder. I'm so surprised by how great I think this tool is.
Yeah, no, they really did a great job. I think again, there's some possible room for improvement, but I don't see why we need it. I think it works fine the way it is. It's going to be really, really effective for new players, which is really the target audience here. I go to Hearthstone, I go to Hearthhead, I go to tempostorm.com and find out what decks are popular there. So I'm not really the target audience here again, but a lot of people, like you said, and we maybe sometimes forget this, that they don't ever go to Reddit, they don't ever go to any website. All they do is they open Hearthstone on their phone and they play every now and then, and they have no idea what makes a good deck or a bad deck. They just know like that they can't get past rank 17, right? And now hopefully those people will have like some cool options that will help them play a little bit better and be a little bit more competitive. It's great.
Yeah, it's really nice not to have to actually leave the client in order to do that. But I have a question for you, actually, probably for Garrett more so than Dills. So when you actually look at the deck recipes, all of mine say 30 out of 30. Does yours actually tell you what card or like how many cards you're missing from that deck?
Well, Jocelyn, yeah, as not a part of the not a part of the elite 1% of Hearthstone that you occupy, where you have pretty much every card in the game.
Me and Dills.
It will show. Well,
Yeah, but I played a lot of arena. I did it the hard way. You know?
stepped up to the
Lifted
plate,
myself up
Jocelyn.
on my bootstraps like Donald Trump told me to.
Oh, someone tug on his leg and make him cry like a baby. Well, Jocelyn, you stepped to the plate, so just stand and receive.
I think every time, look, we'll probably get an email about this, but every time I think we say the Jocelyn 1% joke, we should do like a Bernie Sanders impression, right? Jocelyn is the 1% of the 1%, and then you gotta do the whole thing.
My Bernie Sanders impression is garbage. If you want me to talk to you like Christopher Walken, that is something I can do, but I cannot do
you
Bernie
can do
Sanders.
Walken, that's fine. All right, I'll allow it.
Anyways, yeah, no, it builds the deck as it sees fit. Like I tried this with, for example, whatever their version of a Shadow Priest is. I was like, oh, well, what the hell does this look like? Just to see what it is. And Prophet Velen is in that deck.
Yeah, it has Velen in it.
I do not have Prophet Velen, so it shows it in like this purple kind of masked out thing, and then you can hover over it and click on it, and it brings up the suggest a card feature that we've known forever. And it tries to suggest a card that you from your library that you do have that can kind of fill that slot. In that case, I forget what it suggests. It suggests like Ragnaros and a couple other big drops.
Okay.
But
it suggests only things you do actually have, right?
Right. Well, yes, but when you initially make the recipe, it will show you exactly what it thinks the deck should be, including cards you do not have. And then when you click on the missing cards, it'll suggest cards that you
are actually in possession of. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you
and that's
able
similar to
to
how the
craft-
suggested card works already, because if you click that, deck helper or whatever, it only pulls from cards you own.
Right.
Even if you start with 0.
What was your question,
Sorry,
Joss?
I was just asking if you actually are given the option to craft it straight from that deck recipe screen. Like so you say you didn't have Prophet Velen. If you had 1600 Dust, is there like a craft button in there anywhere, or do you have to go all the way out and all the way back in?
Well, I'm not sitting on 1600 Dust, so I don't know. Again, not sitting in the Golden Gilded Hearthstone Mansion tavern that Jocelyn doesn't go to the tavern.
Do you want to know how much I have, Garrett?
Jocelyn doesn't play Hearthstone in a tavern. She plays it in a mansion.
She plays it in like a piano bar with a martini in her hand at all times. Yeah.
That does sound more like me.
It's a high class tavern.
I don't want to tell you guys how much dust I have. Then, yeah, no, let's not talk about it.
Nice.
Well, I'm hoarding in preparation. Yeah.
I think I have enough to make about 6 legendaries.
Okay. Pretty good.
Go to hell, Jocelyn.
We'll just stop there. Let's not make Garrett feel bad, you guys. Come on.
But that's what I live for on Tuesdays, Dills.
I could do it. I just don't want to spend that much money on this game. I spend a lot of money on this game, just not as much as you have, Jocelyn.
I haven't spent money on the game since
The last expansion.
TGT. Yeah, when I bought. I think that I bought the.
No,
50
you
packs.
bought.
Well, that's
League
untrue
of
because you
Explorers?
bought League of Explorers.
Right, League of Explorers.
But I know,
Yeah,
I
so
see what you're
25
getting
damage.
at.
But yeah, like I haven't bought a big ton of cards in a really, really long time. 5 months or 6 months.
But I think though, here's the funny thing about it now. It's like it seems like a lot of money, but I think most people now, if they play the game a lot, because I think I won't have to spend anything more than the initial $50 pre-purchase. The promotion, because I do have a lot of gold that I've earned over the time since the last expansion, and plenty of dust. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to have all the cards that I actually need day one of this new set. And I think people who play every day can kind of get there. I mean, people who play not every day, it's going to be a struggle, obviously.
Yeah, I'm more
it's
of
a struggle for my EU account, but
I'm more of a weekend warrior.
Not.
So yeah, I don't log into Hearthstone every day.
Yeah, the only thing that I've just been playing a lot, and I've been spending all of my gold on packs, and then pretty much dusting all my packs.
Yep.
I spend all my gold on Arena, so same type of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I'm no good at Arena, so it never seems worth it to me.
I'll tell you what, it's worth it right now if you want a change of pace, which I think a lot of us do. So.
Yeah. If you're sick of playing against the same 5 decks, Arena is the way to go, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, Arena's a good place
Arena
to be right now.
it punishes me so bad. It's like a half hour of my life I'll never get back, and I just go 0-3 every time.
But see, that's only true because you're not playing it, right? Like, if you actually spent the same amount of time learning and getting good at Arena as you did with Constructed, I think you'd be a very good Arena player right now.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, it's just a different style of game, so...
So we haven't talked about the fact that deck recipes, while amazing, and I can't say enough good things about it, and I'm excited for the future to see how it gets updated, that random decks are dead. We can't do random decks anymore. Kevin, are you aware of the Angry Chicken random deck throwdown?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for you guys, but I think in general this is probably a net positive for the game because again, like if you're already up to speed on the game, that's awesome. But if you're not, pushing that button and thinking like, oh yeah, the game just built me a totally viable deck. No, never once in the history of pushing that button has a actually competitive playable deck come out of that.
No.
Never.
So people who are wondering about this, like you can still click the finish the deck for me button, but what it does now is it basically builds a viable deck of viable cards for that class, and if you were to click it twice, it will build the same deck twice, right?
Yep.
So it's just not randomized anymore. Now they have a certain amount of cards that they pull from, and it doesn't affect very many people, but there was a Reddit post, and some people are disappointed. That one guy said, "This is how me and my fiance played together," so that kind of sucks. It wouldn't be that hard for them to put that back in at some point. So I hope they consider doing that because I think just the more ways you can play the game, the better. This was a fun way to play the game.
For me, this was very analogous to picking up Halo 5 and realizing that split screen was just gone. And me being like, okay, most people probably don't give a crap, but for me, that was such a huge part of the game. So I'm gonna miss it, and I don't understand why it had to go because you can still go custom and back out with no cards. So why not have it be random?
Yeah, so I think the idea there was that they're just trying to help players make better decks with these tools. And so the idea there was that this randomized thing was not making the best deck ever, and it would still consider your curve. If you would pay attention to the curve would always be somewhat playable with a lot of 2 and 3 drops and stuff, and and it would kind of allow you to curve out fairly well. But you'd get you get weapon buffing cards and non-weapon classes and weird things like that would happen. So that it's like they've made it better for the newer player, but for the people who just wanted to have a good time and do something funky and strange and laugh with their friends, I think they'd have to change the UI, put in a random deck button that you can then click. And I think maybe we'll see that down the road. When they have time to deal with stuff like this,
Encounter.
It feels like something they could actually drop into Tavern Brawl down the road, maybe, and just.
Well, it's already in Tavern Brawl, right?
But that's
like,
where the fun stuff would just go.
Yeah.
Like you would just always be able to go in there and hit the random deck button and play with a friend. Like that could just live in that part of the game or something.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Like
just making
play
counter
some of the older like
randomonium
randomonium and whatever. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Let's talk about some of the other changes that came here. We have more deck slots. We have 18 deck slots now, guys, providing that you have unlocked all 9 Hearthstone heroes. That is the caveat. If you create a brand new account, you're only going to have your 9 slots, and you need to unlock all 9 heroes to get all 18 slots. And for those of us who are more seasoned, God, what a pain in the butt! I had to go through and hit the X 9 times to get rid of those stupid basic decks.
It felt so weird to me deleting the basic decks. I actually kept a couple because I'm just like, well, I don't know how to warrior really well. Maybe I should just hang on to this.
No, you shouldn't.
Don't ever warrior like the basic deck tells you to warrior.
Don't warrior like that. You're warrioring wrong.
It has Warsong
It's
Commander.
like the one basic deck you can actually afford to get rid of. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I kind of delighted in it. I'm like, yes, to the dark depths with you, you terrible, terrible basic decks.
Well, you know what's funny is essentially what they did was they didn't give us more deck slots. They just took all those basic slots and said, "Oh, you can delete the basic ones now if you want to."
Yeah.
And those 9 slots are now available to put whatever you want into. But also they did also, now it's a scroll bar basically that just goes up and down where you can in your collection, and then if you're in your in the play menu, it's now like a big arrow on the right hand side of the screen that gives you to your second page. Yeah. But it's great. I don't care really, but it's not like I will have all 18 slots filled, I'm sure, at some point. But I don't really need it. I don't care that much, but a lot of people did. So it's here. Huzzah!
I'm happy.
I love that little X is there. Oh, it makes it so easy. Just to delete
I think it's just one of those
without going in.
It's one of those features that, like, if it doesn't affect you, it didn't hurt anything. But like, it was the same as when they upped the friend list limit on BattleNet, right? Like, there are a bunch of us who were trapped at 100, and like, I have to delete one friend to add a different friend or whatever, and that felt awful. And now it's like, no, I can keep every deck I've ever done well with on my deck list forever because I've got room for it finally. Or make a deck to go do the new adventure mode when it comes out without having to delete 3 of my ladder decks or something. Like, I think it's good.
No, it's definitely good.
Don't lie,
there's
Kevin.
no negative here. It's just it's good. But again, it's just like I think a lot of people made huge deals about this, and to me, it's just like, yeah, okay, it's fine. But there's no negative to this at all. Absolutely.
Come on, Kevin. You know you miss getting to play Gladiator briefly with your thumbs up, thumbs down on your friends and judge them. Like, are you really my friend? Delete.
I do the scroll of shame, and I'm like, you haven't logged in a week, man. You don't take this game seriously. You are out. You are gone.
I had to do the same thing. I'm going through
all the time.
People, I'm like, 4 days. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
You
I gotta log in more than that,
your
buddy.
name in real life? Oh, sorry.
At the end, I was removing anyone who hadn't been on in the last 24 hours, and I was still at the cap. Today, now, I'm at like 170 with that rule.
No, I've gotten back to 200, and it sucks because when you're streaming and someone in your stream, we want to play stream games or something like that, and I gotta every single time I have to clear up like 5 or 6, and it's just always tough. And I'm actually at the point now where there's a lot of real life friends, but even beyond that, there's a lot of people that I know of because they're in the stream a lot, or they are patrons for the show, or something like that, where now I've gotten to recognize their names, and I just wish it was like 1,000 or something like that. I think.
I just wish you weren't so damn popular, Dills, so we don't have to sit here and listen about how damn popular you are.
It's not even that, though. It's just
Dills,
like,
the
just
1%
play
of
with
friends.
somebody. Oh, the 1%er of friends. Yeah. I just hoard friends. I just gather them all up, put them in my bank, my friend bank.
Oh, that's fantastic. There were some other notable things that kind of snuck in with this patch. Reno Jackson finally glows yellow, guys.
Yay.
We did it.
Which this is probably the first change that I'm actually really interested to know how they did it from like a server and coding standpoint. Because I know when we were at BlizzCon, that was the thing that Ben actually said was, I think, Dills, I think he was talking to the two of us.
Yeah, we were talking to him at the finals, I think.
The finals, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, I really don't think that we can do that because, like you'd have to be basically always going through and figuring out if your deck had any duplicates left, and it's not just the game that you're in, but it's all the games of Hearthstone being played all at the same time with this constant like checking cycling going on. So
well, they must have cleaned up their code.
I really want to know,
yeah, they must have cleaned up their code to find another way to make this happen, because it is like you're saying, you have to run a lot of queries in the background. So I'm sure it was basically just when the card was put in, there was no need for code to be able to do this, and then now that the card's been in for a while, I'm sure they've had somebody working on how to make this work without bogging down the system. So it's really cool that they were able to get that in there, though, because it's nice. It allows the people who aren't running deck trackers to know if they have Reno viability. It also works really well with things like Arena. If you pick a Reno and Arena, and you don't know if you have the two Chillwind Yetis left in your deck or not, now you can see very easily. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited they got this in.
Yeah, it's a cool quality of life thing. It kind of like, in a way, it sucks because knowing whether or not it was going to work was actually a skill, and being able to remember your deck was something that was important at one point. Now it's kind of like, who cares? But the flip side is that it just forced everyone to run a deck tracker, which also sucked. So
Yeah, exactly.
this is probably the best quality of life, like we're going to meet you halfway solution they could come up with.
Yeah.
And it also just fits into the way the game works. If one thing is yellow when it's activated, then why is another thing not? You know what I mean? That's, I think, really the consistency of how that feature works is off when one of the cards doesn't actually do it, right? So,
true.
Yeah.
If you pre-purchase Overwatch, you got your card back, so go enjoy that.
Sweet.
New Brawl artwork has been data mined, so looks like we'll be getting some new Brawls very soon.
I think there's Kel'Thuzad versus Arc Thief Rafam coming, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I like those boss ones. Those are fun.
Yeah, really cool.
Hopefully it's not super one-sided, though. We got extra search functions, which I'm really excited about because I disenchant pretty much every golden I ever get. So I can now finally search for golden, actually just see my golden cards, which is very nice.
Mm-hmm. And there's also some really cool thing where you can look for specific mana cost creatures and then cross-reference it with things like health, attack, all that kind of stuff. And also, like, you can click, I think it's owned 3 or something like that, and you can see all the cards that you own 3 or more of. So you can go through and dust all the extras you have really easily without having to, like, scroll through and try to find them. Although you can already kind of do that with just the
mass disenchant button or whatever.
Yeah, but I think it actually cross-reference, like, you can do golden and non-golden. There's, like, ways to really pare down what you're trying to find to do, and it's just nothing but good stuff here.
Yeah, it's great.
They're supposed to be putting out a blog too that explains like all the new search functionalities at some point, so you won't have to just like go through and play with it, because like we know some of them now. Like, yeah, I can search attack 1 and make the world's easiest hobgoblin deck or whatever, but they're actually going to explain all the new variables and ways to use it too, which is awesome.
Yeah, you can search missing and see the cards you don't have, which I think is great. And also you can do things like attack 3 to 4. You can see all things that have attack 3 and 4. It's just like there's lots of, you can see ranges and stuff. It's great. It's awesome.
It's pretty good. Although I don't want the blog. I kind of like it being like the secret menu at not Five Guys, In and Out.
In and Out, yeah.
The In and Out secret menu, man. It's great. Also, Thai speakers. It's now a native language in Hearthstone. Huzzah! Enjoy.
All of our Thai brothers and sisters, welcome.
Indeed.
First game they've ever localized in Thai too.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That speaks, I think, to how popular Hearthstone is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the great uniter, man.
Everyone knows Dr. Boom is good. In all languages.
Everyone is counting the days until standard.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. The America's Winter Championship wrapped up this past weekend, and 15-year-old Amnesiac won, making me feel old and like I have accomplished nothing with my life. He took home first place, $25,000, and a spot at the BlizzCon Grand Finals. Oh, man. I'm feeling real old right now, guys. Everyone's having babies, and 15-year-olds are winning more money than I've ever seen.
He's also very good at tennis, apparently. So
Yes.
He's not just a Hearthstone player. Yeah. But, yeah, no, Team Archon, this was big for them as well, I think. After losing Firebat. It's like, now, well, we've got this guy now. Check him out. Look what he's doing.
Yep.
And he played very, very well, actually. And I actually think didn't he lose like in his first round? So he had to come.
He did. He
did the long way around. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He fought his ass off for this.
Because I think was it Nostrum that actually defeated him the first time around, and then they met again in the finals?
Yeah, and then they met again right at the end. Yeah.
And Nostrum wasn't supposed to be there. Nostrum was the replacement for Fibonacci because Fibonacci couldn't attend.
Yep.
Yeah, Fibonacci couldn't get his passport in time to make it out, so Nostrum got in instead, and then Nostrum gets second place in the whole damn thing. But I mean, it really just speaks to how good all of these players were, even the ones who got eliminated at the very tail end of the preliminaries and stuff. These were all very, very good players. Everyone deserved to be there. Nobody would have been a surprise to make the finals, but it was just really great to see all the. I don't think I saw anybody make any major misplays that were like really notable. Everything that was a misplay was like really kind of grasping at straws to say, well, without perfect information, you can still justify most of these plays, right? Maybe there was an uproot one time that might have been a little suspect, but outside of that,
I think it was an uproot against a freeze mage, which was a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, you think I got to hit him for 10 if I'm going to win this game? But just watching the games was really pleasurable. The casting was great, the production was great, and it was just overall it was a really, really enjoyable tournament.
Can we just talk a little bit about the one thing that they did in the production this time that I don't know if they've ever done it before, but they actually had the pro players' win rates with that class displayed up on the screen. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, so I can actually give you a little bit of the backstory behind this because it's kind of cool.
Please.
We talked a bunch at the preliminary backstage about things they could do for the championship to kind of make it cool. So a lot of the stuff you saw was just stuff that we were throwing out as ideas, like sitting around in the ESL studio, like having the players walk out onto the set past all those people kind of sitting and hanging out in that like sort of live feeling tavern that actually had people in it just at a table. That was all stuff that we were just talking about while the preliminary was being rehearsed and recorded. And one of the things we talked about was how people really like knowing more of the actual like specific information about these players. And because we don't have any really good stat tracking for the competitive scene specifically, right? Like nobody knows off the top of their head exactly how many times Amnesiac has won with combo druid against freeze mage or whatever. That level of detail isn't available, but they could just go in and look at that player's account and say, yeah, when they play this class, they've won this % of the time. That kind of granular data, or even that data against specific cards. So if they wanted to check like oil rogue versus rogue in general, they can go in and they can check that stuff from the server side. So they just pulled that data and fed it through to ESL so they could put it up on screen, which I thought was super cool. Like it just added a whole another element that we've never had before.
Right. It's not even.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
It's not even cool it's not like you have to be a stat nerd to enjoy that. It helps you build a narrative.
No.
You're being able to see those numbers. You're able to see in the matchup who's favored based on their play history, which I think is a great tool for a caster to have, because part of your job is explaining the narrative, explaining to the viewing audience who may have just tuned in for the very first time why they should care about these two people playing against each other.
Yeah,
I think they're all like overwhelmingly positive, right? Like everybody was winning. It wasn't like anybody's rate count was like, oh, this guy only wins 38% of the time with mage. Like they're all.
Why did he bring mage?
They have definitely earned their place, and they've all won a ton.
Yeah, I think they could even take this one step further and make a tool available. And I hope we see this somewhere down the road to any tournament that wants to access stuff like this, and have some sort of an API where you can grab statistics from Hearthstone server bases that would be useful, and people can if you're doing the Seat Story Cup and you wanted to see what people's stats were, not just like a Blizzard tournament. It's because it was so informative, and it was really interesting, I think, for the viewer. So it's I think now that we've seen it, give us more of it. It's awesome. Like we want stats. We've talked about that on the show a lot, that I would love to be able to go into my account and see all of my stats in all these various situations. Kind of like what you have in Overwatch or Heroes, where you can see, how I did on a map, or how much I played with this hero and all that kind of stuff. I want that in Hearthstone too. And I don't think they assumed we would want that so much, but I think it's been proven that it's valuable information. There is worth there.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see them do more with it.
Do you think that there's because there was no kind of time length, at least that was broadcast. So do we know if these are stats from the beginning of Hearthstone time? Because the one thing that I seem to notice with a lot of the players is even the really good win rates were 56, 57. We weren't seeing a lot of the numbers that we're, I guess, used to seeing out of pros, whether it's, on Twitter, Reddit, streams, whatever. But just the win rate seemed to be extremely low for what I was expecting. I was expecting 65, 70, especially in classes that people were specialists in.
Yeah, but those numbers are generally lower than I think you would think. When you see someone post on Reddit, 85% win rate to legend or whatever, those are super small sample sizes if you really think about it. And I think maybe Froden was talking about it one point, because Chess Dude is a grandmaster chess player, right, and top in his age group, and his win percentage in chess is 65%. And Frodan was saying that's surprising, because I would have thought in chess with no randomness, no RNG, that if you're really, really good, your win rate would be 80% or something like that. But even in a game like that, and in Hearthstone as well, top players are around 65, and that's super high up there.
Well,
and
Kevin,
people
you
think
said
it's higher, but
Kevin, you said that they could plug in specific cards to weed out, one rogue from an oil rogue and that type of stuff. So I would assume that the stats that we were looking at are relatively up to date, because if there were any relatively new cards, it wouldn't be going back to the beginning of time.
Well, I mean, they could do it a number of ways, right? They could just look at a person's class history back through to the last wipe during beta if they wanted to. I imagine they probably set a filter and wanted a parameter that was more recent than that, like maybe the last year or using a set archetype, because how well you did playing like gimmick Kel'Thuzad Druid on stream for your fans is probably not relevant to your like tournament meta statistics, but either way, right? They definitely used a big enough sample that it's meaningful, because there weren't any crazy win rates. Nothing above, I think, 60% came up on stream at all.
Yeah.
Like the big ones, like 57, and it was like, wow, he's got a 57 overall % win rate with that class. That is actually a big deal.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how thin the margin really is in Hearthstone. But having 57% win rate really does also spell out the fact that while RNG does exist in this game, being good at it is also very, very important. And so, there's a reason why the same names are seen every single season in the top 100 and even like the top 10 and things like that. So it was just really, really cool to see some numbers verify kind of what you suspected about these players and how good they really are at this game.
Yep. Well, let's move on and talk about a topic that Dills is very near and dear to your heart. So I'm just going to lay it up for you. You wanted to talk about everything that's been going on with Twitch.tv and viewbotting.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up because it's all over the Hearthstone subreddit right now, and recently some action was taken by Twitch around some of the things that have been going on here. And, people talk about it a lot, and this is the viewbotting and the streamers that are using the viewbots to boost their streams. And really, I just wanted to kind of bring it up just because it's something where on Reddit, the conversation is a little bit more pitchforky and witch hunty and less level-headed. If you were, and it's not something that's been going on for a long time, or something that is just recently come up. It has been going on for a long time. And I think, Kevin, you'd said, even in StarCraft days before, there was this going on. It's not anything that's really new. But I really just wanted to talk about it because it is something that is hurting people who don't do this. And it also forces people to feel like they either have to viewbot or they cannot compete. Me, as someone who's streaming and trying to build the community around my Twitch stream, makes it really tough because you're sitting around 100 and you're way down there on the list of people streaming Hearthstone. And then you look at the people above and you're like, why does this person have 800 people watching right now? Or, why does this person have, up to 8,000 people watching right now? And you don't want that to be the scene. You don't want that to be forced on anybody, because what you're doing essentially is siphoning money straight from creators and then sending it to these shady people. It's like gold buying in WoW, right? If I want to compete in WoW, I got to buy gold or something. That there was a time when people thought that way, and the sites that generally do that are not very reputable, I would say. So while there's nothing we can technically do because we are not Twitch, I just want to make sure that it's brought up and we just kind of point it out and tell people, if you want to do something about it, essentially what we can do right now is tell Twitch that we want them to take it a little bit more seriously, and also just be aware of who you think might be viewbotting, and maybe take that into account when you decide what Twitch streams to watch. There's a lot of really good streamers out there who are trying to do this the legitimate way and not trying to cut corners. And a lot of them deserve a little more patronage, I think. So I just want to kind of bring awareness to it, and I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm not trying to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. But it sucks. It sucks for people who are really trying to legitimately build a community around their Twitch streams. And I'm not only talking about myself. There's tons of other people. Jocelyn, I'm sure, has the same kind of issues, as someone who streams a lot as well. So, and even here, like on the A-Move channel, we would be higher up on that list, right?
Yeah.
If there wasn't people above us who were using viewbots. So that's really what it comes down to. I just like to see more people kind of know that it's going on, understand, less pitchfork and witch hunty stuff going on, and just more actual action being taken by people who don't appreciate it. Maybe just reach out to Twitch and let them know that you just don't like it. But don't go after the people, because they're just trying to do what they can and what they think they have to do. I don't know. It's some of the stuff has gotten ugly, and I don't like that. I would like there to be more level-headed discussion about the whole thing. So that's pretty much my whole piece on it. It's just something I think we had to talk about. Kevin, do you have anything to say about this? Do you want to weigh in at all on this, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the Twitch side of it, you're not going to get Twitch to set policy by complaining on Reddit or sending them a cranky email. Like, I think this is something that they're going to make a decision about on their own terms. I would say just if you're like the kind of person who is listening to a show like this one, right, and cares about the people who are trying to create content and work with these different gaming communities, like everybody who does this lives and dies on a handful of people supporting them and showing up and being there for you. It's the same for, our show, your guys' show, anybody's individual stream. My career as a caster entirely depends on people choosing to tune in when I'm on that stream as opposed to doing something else with their time. So I would say just be willing to try new things. Go watch a stream that's only got 15 people tuned into it as opposed to tuning in and watching Amaz or Crypt for the 100th time. Like, give new people a shot, give them an opportunity, show them your support, because you can actually give somebody the opportunity to do something that they're probably actually pretty good at if they spend that kind of time and effort and energy on it into a career and make something of themselves. But it's tough to get to a place where you have an audience that size unless somebody takes a shot and says, yeah, okay, let's go watch this guy who's streaming by himself to 10 people at 2 a.m. Like, everybody starts there. That's where Crypt started. That's where Amaz started. That's where everybody started. Somebody eventually was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's neat. And it's the same as the people who choose to, like, go and work their way through the new stuff on Reddit rather than just look at the top posts, right? Like, those people are deciding for you what you get to see down the road. So be one of those people that does the good job of boosting up the new guys and helping the talented people who deserve the audience rather than the people who are going about it the shady way.
Yeah. It just sucks because if you look at how to viewbot, basically what it is you pay a company to create the bots for you, right? So the money is leaving your pocket and going to those people. And if you don't support the streams that have the botting, then the botting may not be a viable way that people will look and go, oh, I want to be a big streamer. How do I do it? Okay, I start botting. Got it. Okay. And that's, I think, the attitude that I would like to see go away is there's no cheap way through. It's be good at making content. Be good at streaming, right? Be engaging to your audience. Have a lot of people talking back to you because you're talking to them. And that's what I hope that Twitch moves towards. You can't really have Twitch just ban anyone who has bots, obviously, because people will bot other people just to mess with them, and that is a thing that happens.
Yeah, like this
but
Dills
someone
guy.
Someone who's got bots in their channel every single time they stream, maybe there's something Twitch could do about that. But, I understand that
especially when there's such huge numbers in some cases. It's like, that's not a mistake. That's probably not someone doing that to someone else. Like, it would just be nice to see, because, like you say, the people getting punished here are smaller streamers, and it does hurt the community. And it's extremely frustrating, especially when you go into some of those chats and, like, you try to support even some of the people in, like, the kind of mid-range of streams. And it's not only Hearthstone. It's a problem across Twitch. And to go into some of those streams and see, like, 1,500 viewers and there's literally no one talking, or it's all just, like, canned chat messages, and you're just like, damn it.
Yeah, how are you supposed to compete, right? That's
exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, we should be at the top, you guys. We're so good at whatever. I'm just saying that the people using the bots shouldn't be at the top.
Yes.
That should be a thing that doesn't work out for you as well as it does currently. Right now, it works out great. And that's a problem.
They should
well,
not
and
be
even then, like, some
rewarded
of
for
the
gaming
bans that have
system.
come down lately, I don't think have anything to do with actual botting. Like, this isn't Twitch actually cracking down. This is basically, like you said, a witch hunt. And what basically happened is the streamers in question, they're on people's hit lists. So when they do break terms of service, even if it's for something that, you'd let slide for another streamer, they get reported by literally everyone, because they're just like, they're
people want
a
them to
target
go down.
that people want them to go down. So it just comes down to, like, if they stuck to terms of service, nothing would have happened. Nothing. And that's what's frustrating.
The whole thing now is like a toxic scene, and that's what sucks. Because I want Twitch and everything around the games that we love and the people that we know that are making great content, I want all that to feel positive right now, And, the memes and all that stuff, that's fine. But when it's like actually like it gets really toxic and people are after each other and stuff, that really sucks. I don't want to see that. So I just, I hope that what we can do here is use our platform to bring some level-headed discussion to the whole thing. It's not worth the toxicity. It's more just about let's continue to help building this whole thing as a positive. This is new. The whole thing is new, and we're kind of on the ground floor of it. And the kind of longevity and the lifespan of this whole esports and gaming culture is going to depend on if we do it right. So I want us to do it right. That's really it.
Well said. Well, we have a lot of cards to talk about and strategy, so sadly, I think we need to move on from what is an important topic. Let's also thank our patrons before we do that. This show is directly supported by you, the patrons, over at patreon.com/TAC, so thank you guys so much for doing so. This episode, let's thank Charles Evers, Cal Linegang, Tom, Richard Hamilton, Angela Lay, Les, last name I'm not going to attempt, starts with a G. Thank you, Les. Gebhardt? All right.
Yes.
That's not so bad. Probably what my name looks like. Terrifying, but once you say it, you're like, oh, that's not so bad. Nicholas Marmion and Sunbun, thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Now, let's take a look at some new cards.
Hit it very hard. Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
All right. While we may have preferred to see a lot more cards up front, it certainly makes planning out the show a lot easier. We have 5 new cards to talk about since we last spoke after the announcement of Whispers of the Old Gods. Let's start with Eater of Secrets, which is a rare neutral minion. It costs 4 mana. It has 2 attack, 4 health, and a battle cry that reads, destroy all enemy secrets. Gain +1/+1 for each. Suck it, Secret Paladin. Suck it.
I feel like this is a wild card, which to me is kind of cool because it means that wild is not just completely off their radar now, and they're just going to make cards that are more around standard. Because Secret Paladin may or may not actually still exist in some form in standard, but it's going to still exist in wild. So while it doesn't directly destroy Secret Paladin, what it does is it makes people think twice when they're going to decide to play Secret Paladin. I think that's good enough.
I think it
doesn't have to be some amazing card. It just has to make Secret Paladins think for a second.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a really cool card. I'm glad that it exists, but it also kind of fails in the same way that Kazan Mystic does. I don't think this is something that's going to make your deck consistent enough for typical ladder play. But yeah.
It's an option that you can put in when Secret Paladin is destroying the wild meta, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Although we did see a lot of Kazan Mystic in this last tournament, which I was really surprised about.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is you may see it in tournaments if secret decks are as prominent as they currently are, or if we ever get a tournament with sideboards. This type of card is a wonderful thing to exist. So
I think that because everyone is basically talking about this in terms of Secret Paladin, and I think that one thing that doesn't get talked about enough is actually Freeze Mage. The Freeze Mage deck isn't going to change that much in terms of secrets because Ice Block and Ice Barrier are their only 2 secrets, and they're not going anywhere. So I really think if you can take an Ice Block out of play without actually having to pop it, that's huge to play against a Freeze Mage. I think we're going to see this a lot in standard tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, depending on if Freeze Mage is really popular. Yeah.
Yeah,
there was quite a lot of Freeze Mage.
But that was
it's not going to be the same after standard, which is when this is going to matter. And this is stat line wise, it's a worse card than Kazan Mystic was. Flat out, it is worse. It has less tempo swing. It trades less efficiently. This is not a card that most people are going to tech into their decks. And if you've got a tech slot in an otherwise well-refined deck list, you're more likely to run a card that answers more classes, right? The whatever Loatheb equivalent or some kind of weapon removal that hits more classes than secrets do. It's just not good enough. And if it doesn't hit a secret, it's way worse than throwing out like a naked Kazan Mystic was. Way worse.
That's the thing. The 4 attack on the Kazan Mystic is that matters quite a bit because it does allow it to trade up into a lot of things. So. But I think where this card will exist is again in wild, I think, and it will exist in metas where multiple secrets being played is a thing. We haven't seen all the cards, so we don't know. Maybe there's more ways to cheat out secrets now that Mad Scientist will be going away in Standard as well. We just don't know that yet. So while we look at it now, all we can really do is think about it in terms of the current meta. There may be a reason why this is actually going to be a really good Standard card. We just don't know yet. Yeah. But again, like you said,
another reason why the drip feed is awful.
Yeah. But it's going to be, the drip feed is actually good for some things. Like we get to talk about cards every week.
Yeah.
But awful in the terms that we talk about them with incomplete information.
With no information hardly.
You kind of just have to look at it in a vacuum because there's no other real way to analyze the card.
Exactly.
And then like as we get to the very end, the analysis becomes a lot better, which is just strange.
But who knows, like a year and a half from now, this card might be insane when like the 3 expansions are out, you know?
Yeah, the year of the goat or whatever.
Yeah.
The goat.
2017, the year of the secrets. And you're like, what? Year of the secrets so good.
The constellation will look like a question mark. Let's take a look at Giant Sandworm, an epic Hunter Beast minion. It's 8 mana, 8 attack, 8 health, and it reads whenever an attack by this minion kills another minion, it can attack again.
All right,
so
Mega
kind
Wind
of
Fury.
like, yeah, Wind Fury that kind of comes and goes.
Yeah, Wind Fury with a drawback. Because like Wind Fury is just straight up better than this effect.
So if you basically use it, you can use it to ping off like 4 different things.
Yeah. If there's a bunch of
tokens,
tokens, you could just keep attacking the tokens until they're all dead.
Which,
as long as it
totally
kills
thinking of it just like Wind Fury, like, you know, kills one thing and then attacks again and that's it.
Yeah,
but if it keeps killing, it keeps going.
Yeah, whenever it's
going.
every time. Yeah,
it's it's a really interesting card effect.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
cool.
it's a good card. I mean, it's an 8/8 for 8. In a hunter.
It's a Ram Wrangler buff, is what it is for sure. Because
it's a bad card, is what it is.
yeah, on its own, it's not a card you're going to put into your deck. But here's what it does: it buffs Ram Wrangler, it buffs Ball of Spiders.
I was thinking I can't even buff Web Spinner anymore.
The Web Spinner is going to be in Wild, right? So,
Yeah.
but you know,
that's what I was
whatever.
looking for, man. A reason to play Ball of Spiders.
I'll say this though, I'll pick this card in Arena. It's an epic card though, but I will pick this card in Arena because big minions that can kill lots of things and give you 2-for-1 opportunities are good in most cases. And depending on what happens to Big Game Hunter, 8/8s might be better too. So I don't, again, incomplete information, but on its own, not a good card. They keep trying to give us these cards in Hunter, right? They're like, come on guys, control Hunter. And they're all just overcosted and don't do enough, and they die the turn they're played, and this card fits directly into that same category.
Yeah. Well, let's look at Hogger, Doom of Elwyn, if for no other reason than because it has a typo on the card text. But this is we're looking at a neutral legendary minion here that is not an old god. It has 6 attacks, 6 health, it costs 7 mana, and it reads whenever this minion takes damage, or take damage, as it literally says as we're looking at it. Whenever this minion take damage.
Well, this wasn't it translated? We got it in Chinese or something.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Whenever this minion takes damage, it summons a 2/2 Null with Taunt. So this is another kind of corrupted card, which we saw a couple of during the announcement. So this is a corrupted Hogger. I love that this is a card. I'd love that this is a thing. Again, I'm not thrilled with the card.
Yeah. It's like it has potential to be incredible in certain situations, right? But those situations are going to be so rare. I think that it's just you immediately look at this card and you go like, oh my god, dude, put this in Warrior, and then make all these nulls and then Flame Strike or anything else. Like anything that wipes the board happens and then it sucks. So whatever. It's a fun card. It's a cool looking card. I think again in Arena, if I have this as a choice, I'll probably pick it.
It's a fine Arena card.
The odds of you being able to remove a 6/6 body without dealing damage to it are very low. Like you almost exclusively would have to have some kind of polymorph effect. Otherwise, you're going to have to hit it with something. And if you hit it with like a fireball, now it spawns the null. So you get 8/8 for 7, including a taunt effect. Like that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's all right.
We don't, again, incomplete information. We don't know what's replacing Deathspite. We don't know how many ways they're going to be to trigger it. We don't know whether or not something is going to be able to remove 6 attack minions, medium
Yeah.
game hunter or something. But for right now, on paper, it looks good.
Well, when I see this card, though, I just can't help but think of Trogzor.
Yeah.
It was the last 7 mana
Yeah.
6/6, and I was super excited about it, and then just turned out to be a complete dud. But you are correct. Trogzor could be removed just with like minion trading and get no value outside of his original 6/6 body. This will at least take damage unless it gets killed, like you said, by some sort of direct minion removal that doesn't cause damage. And there's not that much of that in the game. There really isn't. I mean, there are a few options. Obviously, like things like Polymorph and Hex and
All those
Silver
shamans running
Siphon
Hex
Soul.
right now, am I right?
Yeah, it's like you need like Assassinate or stuff
Yeah.
like Crush that's going away. Like you almost only ever get to do it by hitting them for some kind of damage.
Yeah. But now some of these other cards might become more viable. Some of these things like Assassinate with a smaller card pool, they might be more viable. We don't really know because we don't know what removal options are being added. But when you take out some of the removal options we've gotten, some of those might be, and you make the card pool smaller, some of those might be a little more viable. So it depends on, this will be tried out. People will definitely give this a go, and we'll know fairly quickly if it's actually really, really good or just, okay. I don't think in any situation this is just a terrible card. I just think it's like, Reynad and a lot of people have also said, and it's very true. In the current state of Hearthstone, and this might change in Standard, a card has to be kind of broken to even make it into your deck at all, right? Most cards have to be just over the top with the amount of value you get. I don't see that yet from this card, so it's possible. We'll see.
One thing that we do see pretty often in Hearthstone, at least right now, are random damage effects. And we know that Cthulhu is going to have a random damage effect, right? So when he hits the board, he does his damage in like one-off pings like Arcane Missiles or Avenging Wrath. So, I mean, this could be seen as something you could use if Cthulhu becomes really popular, if Tempo Mage with Flamemakers are still going to be in, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Flamemakers
so-
are around. Yep.
Flame Wakers, Arcane Missiles, like all that kind of Flame Cannon, anything that's just a random damage effect is going to be popping out all kinds of nulls or force your opponent to do something else and kind of throw them off track. So I don't know. I think it's a wait and see, but I think it could be pretty cool.
Yeah,
A wait and see. I like that. Yeah.
definitely,
wait and see.
definitely a deterrent to any type of random damage.
Hopefully, it'll mean there's some choices to be made on 7 for the first time in Hearthstone's history.
I
Yeah,
hope so
it's really
too.
annoying when it's just like, oh yeah, there's this one card that we all put in at 7, and no other card makes it.
How to build a
It's
deck.
green, so I play it.
Dr. Boom and 29 other cards. Let's talk about Stand Against Darkness. First Paladin card we get to look at. It's a Paladin spell. It's common rarity. It costs 5 mana to cast it, and it reads Summon 5/1/1 Silverhand Recruits.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
If Knife Juggler does not get nerfed, I'm going to have some fun with this card.
I bet Knife Juggler gets nerfed,
I
but
bet so
I
too,
still
but-
think this card is. I mean, it's strictly better than Dank Whispers, right? I mean, just because of the fact that it's 1 less mana and you get 5 recruits that you can buff in the Paladin class, rather than Wisps. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't get the other option, which is to buff 5/5 with a taunt, but that option is not used quite as much anyway. I don't know. I think this card is like middling right now. I think it's pretty good in Arena, though. I think you will pick it in Arena,
Yeah.
and you'll see it quite often.
I agree. And it's a common. Yeah, so I think this is a good thing for Paladin and Arena.
Muster will still be there in Arena, though, too. So,
Muster will still be there in Arena.
Paladin's
So
just gonna be
will-
like, woo, dudes everywhere.
So will Quartermasters. Holy crap. Like, if you get the coin.
And Justicar, double dudes into Stand Against Darkness.
Oh,
Dudes
man.
everywhere.
So many dudes.
I mean, if that's
a
your
lot of dudes.
if that's your Paladin Arena deck, you got a godly draft.
Oh my God! Zobot says in the chat, "Ball of dudes." That's what this card
Ball
is.
of dudes. I love it.
All of dudes.
Dude ball.
So I don't know, Kevin. What do you think? Is this going to make it into Standard? Do you think?
Again, it's just way too early to tell, right? Like
Yeah.
all of the good stuff that synergizes with Silverhand Recruits right now is on its way out. We're losing Quartermasters. All you're gonna have left is what, like Warhorse
You get
Trainer.
the Warhorse
Like,
Trainer, yeah.
Woo, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I think something's gonna come out that makes this viable. I don't know if it'll be a Quartermaster replacement. I kind of hope not.
Yeah.
But they could introduce something that has an effect where when a 1/1 minion spawns, it gets some kind of buff, even if it's not a Silverhand Recruit, or it could be Silverhand Recruit specific, like a Hobgoblin type effect or something. But if there's no If there's no new synergy, it's junk, which to me says there's going to be a new synergy.
Yeah, I agree too.
I
right
really
now it's like,
want...
ooh, Sword of Justice into Stand Against Darkness.
Woo.
Bunch of 2/2s. Yeah.
Yeah, like on turn 5, you have a bunch of 2/2s. Like that's not exciting.
And then they could still just do any AOE and kill them all.
I really want token Paladin to be a thing, and I don't think it really ever has been. Even with Quartermaster, it's always kind of just been in addition to whatever your Paladin was trying to do, which for the most part was just mid range. Mid range to win. I'm praying we get more synergy, like Kevin's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it seems likely. I think at this point, if this is the first card we've seen, I would be very surprised if there's no card that can support this at all. And the fact that in Standard we're losing Muster for Battle means we just might see Paladin go less. Just I drop the best thing every turn. More to I have to plan out ways to get a bunch of dudes to stick on the board and then do some buffing things to make them really good.
It would just be nice, I think, if Ball of Dudes, right, when it was played, actually mattered. It would be nice if when you played this card, it had an immediate effect on the board, as opposed to just being, okay, here's my setup turn. I put 5 tokens on the board. Now I'm going to wait until turn 7 when I can put down Dr. Dudes, and he's going to make them all explode.
Dr. Dudes, that's great.
Whatever it takes is fine. But I would just rather that it be like a setup and then play this, not play this as your setup, because that's where I think all the token-driven decks have kind of fallen apart. And it's either super powerful and you have something that, like a Bloodlust or Savage Roar or something that feeds off it and makes it really, really good, unless somebody has a specific type of board clear, or it's just really boring. And either way, it's like it's too far out either end. It's either really good or really bad. And it would be nice if it was just like, no, you can play this, and when you play it, all of your dudes, as they're summoned, get, Divine Shield or something insane. Like, whatever. Just give it some way that makes this playable and impactful on the turn it's played, not several turns later.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're losing Enhanso Mechano, so we can't even do this into Enhanso Mechano. The hell, man.
No. Not to mention, you would literally, at this moment, I'm looking at this card, I'm like, turn 5, pray.
Yeah.
Hope to God
there's not a lot of cards that actually make it into decks that are like that,
Yeah.
Put this on the board and hope that it sticks somehow. It just doesn't work very often.
Pay 5 mana and pray to God they have 0 board clear at all. Any board clear spell completely nullifies this card. Which just feels bad for 5 mana, but
hope they don't
Druid,
have arcane missiles.
Yeah. Also, all of the internet points to Hachikumo in the chat room, who said this card should be called 5 Guys. Love it so much. Well, the last card let's look at Klaxi Amber Weaver. Love the art for this card. It's a druid minion, rare rarity, 4 mana, 4 attack, 5 health, so 4/5 for 4, and has a battle cry that reads, if your Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, gain +5 health. I like this card. I am excited about this card.
This kind of sets up a little bit of a precedent, doesn't it? That maybe we're going to see one Cthulhu card for each class or something like that. Yeah. The fact that it's druid only, but we're seeing also another kind of we're seeing a commonplace thing here with these cards. That is that they basically have the same stat line as a vanilla version of that mana cost. So we saw the 2 manas are 2 3s. And now here we go, Yeti stats on a 4 mana card. So they're basically giving you kind of vanilla stat lines, and then they're saying if you ever do draw your Cthulhu, it's going to be amazing. But until then, all you're doing is basically playing vanilla minions, right?
Well, this isn't.
That don't do anything else.
This doesn't specify that you have to draw Cthulhu.
No, this just says, because you know how Cthulhu is going to have that animation, so both players are going to know how big the Cthulhu is every time you buff
everyone's aware that Cthulhu has 10 attack.
Right.
So you don't have to have your Cthulhu in any way. It just has to have 10 attacks sitting on the sidelines, and then you get this buff. And from what we've seen already from the low-cost card that buffs Cthulhu, I don't think, it starts at 6 attack, so buffing it to 10 by turn 4, I don't think is going to be that difficult.
Not going to be very hard at all, no.
Yeah.
Especially because the 2 mana one buffs it for 2 too, right? So if you do that on turn 2, you're already halfway there.
You could do that turn 2, turn 3, and then boom, you have a 4/10.
Well, the 3 guy, though, that we have seen has to stick on the board for at least 2 turns to make this work on turn 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does it once on the turn he's played.
Yeah.
My great fear is the first time I ever see this played on turn 4 with a Bran on the board.
So
that 4/15 minion, Jaraxxus hits the board on turn 4. And you're like, wow. Whoops.
Jiraxis with one
I mean,
more
a 410
attack.
on turn 4 is just good no matter what. But
Yeah.
you're right. A 415, that's even better.
Oh man, yeah, you're just gonna be hugging your Bran Bronzebeard if you ever pull that off. Just be like, you get 2 gold stars today, Bran. Also, you know what is gonna feel so bad is playing against mill decks with your Cthulhu deck, because like when they mill Cthulhu, you're just gonna want to kill yourself.
Well,
maybe that becomes a
maybe,
thing.
maybe not. I don't know. Like, it would be really interesting to see, like, once Cthulhu is out of the game, how that would affect this card. Because, like, if it gets milled, if it gets played and then killed, and then you draw this, like, does it still get the 5 health if my Cthulhu did have at least 10 attack?
Oh, and then it
I
was
would
milled out of your deck?
assume
Or
no.
It
something
says
like
no
that,
matter
yeah.
where it is, so I guess in the quote-unquote graveyard would count as well. I don't know.
I don't know.
I would assume
That's
you would have
weird.
to. It would have to at least exist.
Yeah, is that card just straight gone? Science?
I don't know.
I mean, my understanding, like we talked about this on Firebat with our show last night, and my understanding is that the technical implementation for Cthulhu is that the buffs that are being applied to Cthulhu are actually an aura that's tied to your hero. So the value of the Cthulhu buff is calculated against your hero. So if by
it's, like,
some
always
like
there,
freak
right?
circumstance you were able to like gang up Cthulhu or something, right? Like every one of them would get that aura as it was played. So in theory, right, it should be able to say, yeah, Cthulhu started at X. This is probably not checking Cthulhu itself. It's checking for Cthulhu having an aura of +4 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it'll work because otherwise all of these decks would just be terrible the moment that Cthulhu was destroyed or discarded.
It's going to be quite fun to see all this stuff. So Guildhall podcast just said, if my Cthulhu has 10 attack and then I set it to 1 and kill it, what happens? I mean, yeah, like if it's attached to the player, then it wouldn't matter what you do to the physical Cthulhu on the board, right? But again, like all this stuff is going to have to be found out when we get to play with it, I think.
Yeah.
So much science.
Look out for
Super
Disguised
strange.
Toast videos, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, man, my brain
He
itches.
is probably just cheering right now. Like,
Yeah.
oh, content for
New
years.
stuff I can make. So much Cthulhu videos. But this is a very, very cool card, and I'm excited to see what Cthulhu options we get in all of the other classes. It's very cool to see that, there's 16, but maybe 9 of them are broken up, and so really, like, you're building your Cthulhu deck, not just all 16 of those options are in there. You pick from what you have, and then you try to fill out the rest and make something viable. It's going to be really exciting to see what everyone comes up with when Cthulhu is actually out.
Yeah.
Also means that you can't make an entire deck of just Cthulhu cards.
Yeah,
because
exactly. Yeah,
You're
gonna
probably
have to,
limited to like 8. Even if you get duplicates of them, that means only half of your deck is Cthulhu stuff. So Cthulhu can't end up hitting the board at like 45,
32,
45 or
32.
something.
Yeah. I mean, that's just insta win, just stupid card that gives the game. Yeah. So I mean, this is very, very cool. I'm glad to see that this is the route they're going with Cthulhu because he's very exciting. He's a very, very exciting card.
I really hope he ends up panning out. Like, it's such a cool card.
I
If
just
they
want to
put all
see
this
more
effort
old
in-
gods.
Yeah. If they put all this effort in and he's a friggin' old god and then he sucks, that's gonna be sad. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm gonna guess right now. No, he'll be good.
There's like so many characters. Like, there's so many characters. It's gonna be hard for them to like live up to any of the expectations. Like, if they ever make Arthas a card, what is Arthas gonna have to be to actually live up to the expectation of that character coming into Hearthstone?
Well, I don't expect much from him after Heroes of the Storm. So
That's a very good point. Actually, yes. Oh man, we're crapping on Team 1 a lot today. Sorry, but yeah, seriously, my favorite character, and he's pretty terrible.
I
in the
know
game.
he needs to be good. He should be good.
Anyways, well, before we take emails, let's thank Squarespace.com for sponsoring this episode of TAC. And that's our code, TAC. Use it at checkout and get 10% off your first order and build yourself an awesome website. Go do it now. What are you waiting for? Come on.
Garrett, did I ever tell you about the time that I had this really cool Squarespace story, but the show was already an hour and 33 minutes long, and so I decided to skip it?
No, you didn't.
Hello.
Time for emails.
All right, well, today was that day.
Hello.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
You guys really
Moving
can't
on.
hear the bumpers. I totally started playing it.
Oh yeah, no, we can't hear anything.
There's something wrong with this specific call. Like because this doesn't happen on Into the Nexus. Anyways, here's
Angry
hear
Chicken
them
140.
last
Hashtag blame Kevin. I got it.
yeah. No. I mean, it happens without you. We started having issues last week. Anyways, I'm going to play a bumper now. Pretend you can hear it.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You totally heard laughing there and a chicken
Dude, that
noise.
bumper was amazing.
It was amazing. It was
All
so
right.
good. You can send your
Especially that
emails.
middle part.
Yeah. You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. First one today comes from Ben B, who says, "Hello, TAC crew. With the announcement of a new expansion, despite the free legendary and 3 free packs, I'm sure Garrett is quaking in terror at the thought of opening more packs. Whispers, if you will, speaking in his ear of past expansions and the heartache that pack opening brought him. But could there be hope? Could there be a place to expunge that terrible luck by facing it down, bringing on the sorrow and emerging cleansed? I point you to the Hearthstone pack opening simulator, a silly time-wasting game for most. I can't read the word because Kevin is hovering over something. For most could offer Garrett the chance, however slim, of redemption. Thanks as always for the great pod. No, I haven't messed with this because it's a pack opening simulator, and I'm not sure why I would want to use it.
Because why not, Garrett? Why not?
Who doesn't want to open packs?
Exactly.
All right, click on it, Garrett. You open a pack and I'll open a pack, and let's see what happens.
All right. I'm going to open this up. Hearthstone.pack. All right, what did you get?
Okay, I'm going to open a wild pack, all right? There we go. I got one rare, and that's it. But my rare... Oh, and an epic. I got a Demon Heart and Ethereal Arcanist.
Okay, I'm going to open up a wild pack, and I got... Oh, I win. I got Echoing Ooze, which is an epic, and a Golden Abomination, which is a golden rare.
So what was your total points in the upper right-hand corner?
840.
Oh, my God. Garrett's luckier than Dills. Confirmed.
Yep. Okay, there we go.
684.
But actually...
I got 124, so...
Okay.
Jocelyn knew Garrett.
But see, I still feel bad
690,
because
okay.
I still feel bad because this isn't a pack I get to. I don't have these cards. I don't get to go disenchant that abomination.
It's just a way to cleanse your luck, Garrett.
Yeah. So open
Get
a
all
bunch
your
of
bad
these.
luck out of the way.
No, it's a way to use up all my luck on something that doesn't matter. That's the way I view this. That's the way
Are
I
Yeah,
you
view
how
it.
bad
complaining
did you
about
feel?
free cosmetics again, Garrett?
I
Really?
am.
I assume that's how Garrett would look at it, guys.
I
was
am.
right.
Yep. Anyway,
We should do one of these days, Garrett. We got to do a sealed against each other so we can see, like you open up all those sealed on Tempo Storm and you just get like nothing but Goldshire Footmen. And, I've got True Silver Champions coming out the wazoo.
Well, I mean, the luck there. I mean, that's relative because you're not necessarily going to have a good deck if you crack a bunch of epics.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of a different it's a different thing there. Anyway,
there's plenty of commons that would be amazing.
we want to take the next email.
Yeah, this is from Brian. He says, "Hello there, angry chickens. Over the past several podcasts, I'd heard some discussion about how pros handle gameplay. They just quotations. They just queue up games and don't dwell on wins or losses. There you go. That's what he meant, basically. I can relate to Garrett's feelings. I end up taking losing streaks personally and end up questioning my competence. I thought it could be interesting to listeners to hear how often lost streaks are expected, given just random chance. I ran through some calculations and wanted to share some of my results. I assumed a session of 10 games, and I asked how often we would expect to have a loss streak of at least 3 games. If we were playing at a 60% win rate, you would still expect 41% of your sessions to include a loss streak of 3 or more. At a win rate of 70%, which is insane, you would still expect 20%. That's 1 in 5 of your gaming sessions to include a loss streak of 3 or more. So what's all this mean? You still need to pay attention to the current meta and make sure that you're not playing a bad deck, but if you suffer a small losing streak, it's worth reminding yourself that losing streaks are statistically expected, even for people with impressive win rates. If you're interested in looking at the math for this, I've included a Google Docs link. You can enter different values for length of losing streak, win rate, and number of games per session to see how often you'd expect to experience a losing streak. Enjoy. So this will be in the show notes. And this is actually, this is really relevant because it is true that even the best players in the world are going to lose 3 times in a row fairly often. So I think Mike Dene recently had a post talking about Overwatch because somebody had made a post on their forums complaining that he lost 4 games in a row and clearly matchmaking is broken and this is why and all of this kind of stuff. And he pointed out that the way human beings kind of work is that we remember our win streaks quite less than we remember our losing streaks. If you think about things like poker, people remember all the bad beat stories, but they don't oftentimes remember the time when they got lucky on the turn and won the hand. So just in general, people are going to focus more on the negatives that happen to them rather than the positives, and that's why it feels bad, man. But this is kind of proof that you just kind of got to roll with those. And I think that's what the point we were making with the pros is they don't really take it personally when they lose. They play so many games, it becomes less of a big deal. And even a lost streak isn't as big of a deal. But it's very cool to have some statistics to back that up.
Yeah, I agree. And I also
thanks for all the work, Brian. I love that our users do this kind of stuff. Our listeners send, they actually do the math.
Yeah.
Or they
we
did
have
the
some
math.
really smart listeners.
I had an
Clearly.
awful...
And I took a whole bunch out of this email too. Like he went way in depth, and I was just like, "Oh no, no."
Yeah, this was the
Too
condensed
much.
version of this
Yes.
email, but
Yeah.
but it's very much worth pointing out that a losing streak of 3 or more, that's going to just happen, and it might not be that your deck sucks. You really
Or
need
that
to
even
also,
that you're bad. Like you
Yeah.
having a losing streak doesn't mean you're a bad player. Happens to literally everyone.
we all know that feeling, right, where you switch to Control Warrior, or you switch to Freeze Mage, and then you just queue right into Control Warrior, and you switch to Druid, and you queue right into Zoo, and you switch. It's like you just queue. It seems like you're always just queuing into the direct counter for your deck. It doesn't matter what you do, and the fact is that's just how it feels because you remember that.
Just play Confused Priest.
Yeah, there you go.
It's really
Puzzled deck fixes everything.
that's the answer because you queue up and you're like, I don't know if this is a bad matchup or not. It's gonna pretty
This
much
matchup's
depend
never
on.
happened before.
It's gonna pretty much depend on my draw. So.
That is a winning deck, by the way. Still.
I love that deck. I have so much fun with it. It is it is single-handedly saving Hearthstone for me right now.
I don't think it's a deck you're ever going to be above 54% or something like that. But if you play it right, I think you will win more than you lose.
You'll have to play a lot of games, games to rank up with it. But you're
Gotta
gonna
get over all those lose streaks.
Yeah.
But you'll have
Which are not Confuzzled's fault.
No, it's not the deck's fault that I have 2 Confuses in my opening hand, or I never draw a Confuse. That's not the deck's fault at all.
No, it's really God. When you draw like an opening hand of minions that you can curve out with in that deck, you're almost guaranteed to win.
Yeah, you
Ridiculous.
every time.
However, there are so many spells that seldomly happens.
Yeah.
True.
So,
True.
anyways, that's gonna do it for this show. Kevin, you're our guest, so front row center. Where can folks find you?
Well, if you're not already, you can definitely come follow me on Twitter at Lack of Realism. You can also follow me on Twitch. I'm moving into a new apartment hopefully at the end of next month. I'm going to try to go to a more regular streaming schedule, something every day for everybody who wants to come check it out. My Twitch handle is Odinn TV, Odinn with 2 N's. And if you're not already a fan of the rest of the Hearthstone podcasts out there, obviously the Angry Chicken, the preeminent best Hearthstone podcast out there. I don't think anybody's going to question that. But I host a little show off on the side in the corner by ourselves. Kind of one of those, remember, we support the small content creators. Go check out the little guys. Well Met is one of the little guys, and we'd love for you to come check us out as well. We record live on Twitch at twitch.tv/BlizzPro Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific.
If you have Firebat as a guest, can you really call yourself the little guy?
With little-ish.
Yeah, you guys are doing pretty good.
I think you're okay. I think you're fine. Last I checked, you had more Twitter followers than us, so I think you're doing all right over there. I think you're doing just fine. So, but Kevin, man, you've been great, which I'm not surprised as a fellow podcaster. You clearly get what we're going for here. So thank you for stopping by. And seriously, everyone go check out Well Met. Follow Kevin on Twitter. And thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. If you like the show, if you dig what we're doing, you want to support us, that is where you can do so, because we ain't partnered on Twitch. We ain't getting $1 from this stream. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. That helps the podcast version out quite a bit. This week, let's thank Rudeboy77, NJ Solly, Skulls Hammer, who said 100 out of 10 best Hearthstone podcast. Thank you, Skulls Hammer.
We did 110 challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woo! We won. We won. Chubbs McGrubbs who wrote an insanely nice review. So thank you, Chubbs. And thank you, Adam C. Thank you for your 5-star reviews.
So I didn't actually go check. Did Chubbs actually write a really long, nice review, or did he was that his review?
No.
I wrote a nice review.
No. He really wrote a very nice, heartfelt review that complimented all 3 of us individually. I did not feel like sitting here stroking our own ego. So
right, okay.
I felt like you doing that.
But
so,
I did.
I'll go read it after the show.
I did want to personally thank him though, because it was really nice. Especially, you get a bad review every now and then, so and we complain about those. So I want to compliment and thank the people who go out of their way to leave us a really kind, well thought out review. So thank you, Chubbs McGrubs. Find us on amove.tv and youtube.com/amovetv. Big fat thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H, LVE, and our latest Patreon producer, Peter Williams. Thank you guys so much. Check out our coffee mugs and pint glasses over at bit.ly/amovestore. And get our t-shirt on slashloot.com. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. Catch us live every Tuesday night at 4 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/amovetv and also on alphageekmedia.com. And finally, thanks to Brian Griffith Music for our intro music. Dills, where can folks find you?
You can check me out on Twitter. I'm at Willie Dills. You can check out my Twitch stream, which I finally got back from the hackers that tried to take it from me. So we didn't get to stream yesterday. We should be back up and running by today, I believe. So come on over and hang out. We're going to try out some of the decks from the tournament, I think, next time I stream some Hearthstone. And then a lot of Arena will be coming. Incoming, a lot of Arena. And that's twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF, the instance on Fridays, and Stormcast on Mondays.
And I'm riding my mute button like crazy because Katie came home and our Chihuahua's losing his mind. Jocelyn, where can folks find you?
Right here on Amove TV every Wednesday night for the Gamers In. You can also follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Joss Plays. And I want to plug Ladies Night. We play Heroes every Tuesday night. There's a whole team of 5 of us. We drink a lot of wine. We get pretty blue. It's amazing.
Nice. And
Blue ladies. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's many a boob joke.
Okay.
I enjoy a good boob joke, so I endorse Ladies Night and their boob jokes.
Aficionado, I think, actually. So, fit right in.
I want to see maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm not sure. I think I want to see the cover of that magazine. Like cigar aficionado, but it's boob joke aficionado. That'd be wonderful. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art, nomoonart.com for my graphic design portfolio, talking Heroes of the Storm on Into the Nexus and talking to myself on The Angry Nerd. Go check it out, folks. Thanks again to squarespace.com for sponsoring this episode. Use the code TAC at checkout to get 10% off your first order. And until the next time, which may be the Brawl episode this week, if there's a new Brawl and I don't have the plague, who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!